We're here today talking with Lois Jean Lee about her book, Beta's Year of Firsts. Lois, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about your book?
Well, it's called Beta's Year of Firsts, and it's about a little girl. She's 12 years old, and when the book opens up with her sitting at the bedside of her mother, who is dying, and Beta is holding her hand, and as the book says, she's holding her hand even after her mother dies, and her hand becomes cold. And when you're reading the book, her mother in Beta's head, her mother tells her words of wisdom, like, be kind to people, always do what you're told. And what I wanted to do is, I wanted people to know, children about her age, that it's okay to be good. It's okay to mind your parents. It's okay to love your parents. Because nowadays, there doesn't seem to be any role models for children that age, and they seem to just go and do things because they want. I don't know why, but I want children to respect their parents and to do what's the right thing to do. And that's what Beta is doing. And when she goes to live at um, the foster family, she really doesn't want to go there. She wants to go home because she keeps thinking her mother's going to be there. And if her mother's there, then maybe she'll do it better this time with taking care of her mother. I never mention in the book what's wrong with her mother. I didn't want to have her have any illnesses or anything. I just wanted, we know that she's been very sick. She's in and out of the hospital a lot. And so Beta's had to grow up fast because she's had to take care of herself. And when her mother finally dies, she doesn't tell anybody. And there is a social worker that's watching out for her. But her social worker isn't very kind to her. She's basically a nasty person, and Beta doesn't like her. And Beta has a friend in the school counselor whose name is Mrs. Cummings. And when finally she goes to Mrs. Cummings, and Mrs. Cummings realizes that Beta's mother has died, and she asks Beta, well, why didn't you tell somebody? And she says, well, nobody ever asked.
Mm.
And she wanted to keep it that way. She figured she could get a job and take care of herself. And she was going to get her plan was to get a job at the florist, because that's where her mother worked, and the florist liked Beta and her mother. But when she went there, she finds out she can't get a job, and it's things are falling apart on her because now the social worker knows that her mother's died. And she's by herself, and she's been sleeping in her mother's bed, and she has some money in a tin can at the back of the cupboard, but that isn't going to last her long. But she's so sure that she can take care of herself. And when she does go to the foster family, that's one time when she doesn't act very good. And her mother does say to her, you need to, these people are being nice to you. You need to be nice back to them. Well, she finally realizes that they are nice people, and the foster mother is Irene, and Irene is just like her mother. And she falls in love with Irene. And every once in a while in the book, she'll say, Irene, do you love me? And Irene will say, yes, I love you from the top of your head to the bottom of your toes. And that's something her mother used to tell her.
Mm.
And she can sit in the car and talk to Irene, and she looks straight ahead out the window, and she talks to Irene. and tells Irene about school and about boys. And it's just like she's talking to her mother. And uh, it's such comfort because Irene is taking the place of her mother. And I don't want to tell you some of the things about the book, but there's different twists and turns in the book of things that Beta finds out. And it's like things that she never even thought about. And I don't know if I should say it or
Yeah,
not.
no, I think that's great. Where did this the inspiration or the thought behind the book come from? What was your inspiration and what was the process of it like writing this book out?
When I lay in bed at night, I think about things, and I thought about Beta, and I thought about how children need to have an inspiration or a role model, and I wanted somebody, me, be a role model for them, and that was my inspiration. And like a lot of the things in the book, they just came out as I was writing them. I didn't even know they were going to be there, but they just came out on the paper. So I even surprised myself when different things happened. Some of the things I did know were going to happen, but other things just kind of fell into place. And by the time I finished writing the book, I had fallen in love with her.
Yeah.
And I want other people to fall in love with her because she's such a, a nice little girl. And I am planning on writing a sequel to the book when she's a little bit older. And some of the things that happened in the first book are going to come out in the second book. Things that, like when her mother died, there's going to be something that the way she remembered it, it didn't really happen. And because there's some things that happened that people are probably going to say, well, that's not the way things would happen. But in her mind, that's the way it happened. But the book is going to have the way it really happened. And I just wanted them to see how she matured and how she's living her life now. It's only like 3 years after her mother died, but I want them to see that she turned out pretty good.
Well, we'll be on looking for that. It's Lois Jean Lee, Beta's Year of First, and I think one of the most exciting things is this book is now available through Audible. So if you love to download podcasts, listen to books on the go, this is a book that you can add to your collection. It's available through Audible. It's also available as a paperback through Amazon if you want to purchase it that way. But Lois is super excited. We're excited to be able to announce that it's available on the Audible Book Network, Audiobook Network. So get out there, grab a copy. It's Beta's Year of First by Lois Jean Lee. Lois, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Scott. I enjoy doing this.
Have a great day.
Okay, you too, Scott.